Hello, it's Casey and welcome back to my channel, blah 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 blah. Currently like 3 in the afternoon and I'm sitting here filming a video. I never film at this time because the lighting is atrocious, but I have to film today because today was just, well, it wasn't awful, it's just annoying. It's such an annoying thing to happen because I don't understand why my co-workers, like my semi-permanent co-workers who do not work there full-time, who come and go at will, think I care whether or not they show up to work, whether they want to quit their jobs or not, whether they do quit their jobs or not. Because unless you were Ashton or Nate, I could not care less what you do with your career. You can do whatever you want. You want to walk out in the middle of a shift? Be my guest. I walk into work this morning because apparently I hate myself. And the very first words that greet me when I walk through those doors are, "Casey, we need to talk." And I do mean literally when I walked through the door had not even closed fully behind me yet. And there, in all his self-important glory, is Dr. Dale in my face and demanding my attention. Dale's existence, or at least my knowledge of his existence, is already an annoyance because, as has previously been established on this channel, I hate taking on fellows, and he is a fellow. But it goes even further in Dale's personal case because both his person and his existence is both a royal pain in the ass. Because Dale is big and he's husky and he's been here for going on 4 months now. And look, I know that people like to accuse Nate, Ash, and I of excluding the newcomers, but that's not true. Like, we get along perfectly fine with William and Tan and Kels. Like, we don't exclude anybody. It's not us. It's the backpackers and the newcomers who are the problem. Like, in all the time that Dale has been here and all the months that he's been here, I know absolutely nothing personal about him other than his name and the fact that he has a really nasty temper. And why should I take the time to include them in my, Nate, and Ash's personal business anyway? I don't think it's a case of me eating my young, as the kids like to say about the medical industry these days. Number one, they're essentially interchangeable. They rarely stick around long enough for me to invest in anyway. And number two, in Dale's particular case, I have personally witnessed him lose his temper with an X-ray machine, a magpie, and himself on multiple occasions. So why would I willingly want to spend more time around him than I'm legally obligated to? I mean, to be fair to Dale, he may not be the best fellow that we've ever taken, but he's also not the worst. But I am willing to bet that he kicks my guts. And when he stormed over to me, like directly towards me, before the door had even closed behind me this morning, I was willing to bet everything that I owned that he was about to quit on the spot. Because believe me, I have seen that look of determination on many a face before. That special mix of self-righteous anger, annoyance, confusion, and excitement. He was fully hopped up on that rare, quit your shitty job energy. A better high than most drugs, or so I've heard. And lo and behold, I was right. So he bounces up to me and I'm like, I've literally got through the door. So I'm just like, hey, what's up? And he goes, a lot is up. Like, they can never just give it to you straight and say, I'm quitting, goodbye, thank you for the opportunity. It's not for me. I'm going to move on to greener pastures. No, they always want to drag it out painfully and slowly and give their little piece and make their monologue that they've clearly rehearsed in the mirror. And it became immediately apparent that this was going to be one of those cases. And I had just gotten to work and it was cold and it was early in the morning. And it was windy outside and I did not want to be there. And I'm like, I'm not going to do this in the doorway. And so I walk past Dale and I go to the reception desk. Kels, who is our daytime receptionist, she is already there. So I go and I take the seat next to her. And do you think that deterred Dale at all? No, he comes bouncing up to me like he's Tigger and I'm Pooh Bear. He's all serious like, there's some real messed up shit going on around here. I'm sorry. Do you think I don't know that? Do you think I sit around all day playing Candy Crush on my phone with my head in the clouds? Like, no, I have worked here for 6 years. I am fully aware of what goes on in this building. There is nothing that happens in this hospital that I am not aware of. But no, that wasn't good enough for Dr. Dale. Oh no, he needed his last say. So he's all like, no, I am sick of you all pretending that you don't see the things that are going on around here. And I need you to listen to me right now while I tell you this. And he's like, screaming this, and he's all up in my face, which is quite an achievement because I'm behind the reception desk and he's in the reception area, which is separated by one of those plexiglasses that are for safety. And so there's just like a slit in the bottom where you can like hand things between the two. And he's like leaned up right against it. So close, so in my face, that I can literally see his tonsil stones. And so I get all back up in his face on the other side of the plexiglass, and I'm like, Dale, you need to back the fuck up and let me get on with my day. Like, I have shit that I need to do. I've just arrived at work. I need to get the stuff that I need to get done and put it all in order before I can talk to you. And then once I finish that, if you want to have a conversation, we can have a conversation, which actually worked amazingly well. So I went to the locker room and I got changed and got ready for the day. And I took my sweet ass time in doing so as well because he was really rude and I didn't want to reward that bad behavior. And so I must have been gone for like 40, 50 minutes. And when I come back, he is still in the exact same spot where I had left him. Like, he had not moved an inch. It was really, really weird. And I'm like, this is really weird. And so I went and I sat back behind the reception desk. And at this point, Kels is gone. I don't know where she's gone because she would have had to like move past Dale to get out of the reception desk. She probably went to make a coffee or get a smoke because that's all she does really is smoke and drink coffee. But like, she would have had to squeeze past Dale. I don't know if she did or not, but like I said, really, really weird. So I go back behind the reception desk and I take my seat again. And Dale, he slithers in behind me, like into behind the plexiglass area. And he is visibly seething. Like, you can see the anger dripping off of him. And he informs me that today will be his last day. And I'm like, yeah, I kind of figured that. I put two and two together from the context clues. Thank you for telling me, like I'm an idiot. And I'm being a bit facetious towards him because I actually do respect the fact that he showed up and quit in person because most of them don't. Like, most of the time when they don't want to come, they just don't show up for the next shift at all, or they will quit in the middle of said shift. And so I do respect the grind of showing up to quit in person. But in saying that, I think that's just because he's arrogant and wanted to like tell me to my face. Like, a couple of weeks ago, we had an agency nurse who was working with us, and she was supposed to be working with us for 2 weeks because we can't get nursing staff, like permanent nursing staff. We only have Tan and Nate, who are both nurse practitioners. So what happens is that we get our nurses from the Australian Working Holiday Visa program, whether you have to go and work in a rural or remote area for a specific period of time. So they come, or if we don't have any of them, then the government sends us agency nurses for several weeks at a time. So she came and she volunteered to take the rubbish out to the dumpster, and she just never came back. We never saw or heard from her again. And then there was that time a couple of months ago that we got a new phlebotomist, and he was really nice. He was supposed to work with us permanently after Brett with 2 T's left. But he came into work one morning. He was completely fine. He was cheerful. He was saying good morning. He made his coffee. And then he went to the locker room and we didn't see him for like 3 hours. No one knew where he went. And I'm like, Nate, where is he? And neither one of us knew. So we went and searched for him and we found him. He had locked himself in the shower cubicle and he refused to come out or say anything to us until 4:30 when his shift ended. And then he just left without another word, got in his car and never came back. And then there was our last fellow before Dr. Dale, and he just quit in the middle of his shift. And then 6 hours later, his Facebook profile said that he was in Shanghai. And we still get some postcards from him every now and then, which is really, really nice. Not even touching on the people who just never show up ever again, and we never get word of where they went or what happened to them. Like, a few of them haven't even hung around long enough to pick up their last paycheck. The point I'm trying to make is that we are very well adjusted to people quitting, not even on short notice, literally no notice, not a minute notice. We are in no small part sustained by backpackers. And so it is built into our business plan that people are going to quit and we're going to have to cover shifts that we weren't prepared to cover, we weren't expecting to cover. And so when people show up and they expect to give like an exit interview, I never know what they want me to say. Oh no, not Dr. Dale. How will we go on without Dr. Dale around to save the day? He's the Meredith Grey of our shitty little hospital. We cannot possibly function without his subpar, untrained medical skills that he's not even fully qualified to use yet. Don't leave, Dr. Dale, please don't leave. I will get down on my knees and beg you to stay. If you walk out those doors, millions upon millions of people will die without you, including me. Because, Dr. Dale, my lifelong secret, my most hidden treasure, is that I'm in love with you, Dr. Dale. But like, I've tried explaining all this in the past and it just never ends well. And so I've learned over time that the best response when they want like an exit interview is just to say something along the lines of, oh, that's such a shame. We're so sorry to see you go. We'll miss you and your contribution to our team. And that's usually satisfactory. But do you think that that was satisfactory for Dr. Dale? No. So Dale proceeds to inform me that the reason that he's quitting today his final straw, as he put it, is that he was working night shift last night, and about 8 p.m. Addie Schaefer comes by to pick up her medication. Now, Addie Schaefer is like a 93-year-old woman who has a very impressive collection of cars, one of which is a Hummer that she insists on driving everywhere. And there is a hospital-wide policy that when she drives her Hummer, we need to deliver her medication out to the car park to her, because the owner of the clinic is absolutely terrified that she's going to try to get out of the Hummer on hospital property, and she's going to fall and break a hip, and then he's going to be legally responsible for it, and he doesn't want that responsibility. So Dale took her medication out to the car park, and when he delivered it to her, Addie proceeds to pay him by tucking the money into the waistband of his pants like he's a stripper. And then she doesn't say or do anything. She just, tucks it all the way right up in there. Much deeper than you might think, he said. And she then proceeds to tell Dale that this is her address and he's more than welcome anytime because there's more where that came from. It's just like, are you serious? Like, are you actually serious? She's a 93-year-old frail elderly woman who cannot get out of her own car without a step stool. And you are a supposedly 37-year-old, 6'1", grown-ass adult human male. She poses exactly zero risk to you. What do you want me to do about it? Grow up. But that was not it. No, that was not it for Dr. Dale. He had a full categorized list of complaints for the reasons why he was quitting this job. And he insisted that he was going to go through them all one by one, even though I told him that wasn't necessary, that I believed everything that he was saying, and that if he wanted to, he could just, quit and go on with his life, and I would go on with mine. But no, he wanted to go through them all. And so I had to sit there and listen to them all. And they were just stupid things. They were so stupid. There was things like, he hears voices in the hospital when he's alone there, and he's sick of being gaslighted that other people don't hear them too. And what's up with the garden gnomes? Where do the garden gnomes come from? Why do we sell garden gnomes? Like, what is the point of them? And why does everyone pretend that they don't move around on their own, even though they very obviously do? They don't. There was things like he gets electrocuted when he touches the wall that the notice board is hanging on, and he's sick of chasing out possums every morning that he opens the clinic. And that when he covers reception, he gets phone calls from people claiming to be his dead relatives, and he finds it disturbing. And a spider crawled into his mouth when he was draining an abscess the other day. And, the best one of all. Apparently, his name is not Dr. Dale, but we keep insisting on calling him that. Apparently. Which threw me for a complete loop because, yes, it is. His name is Dr. Dale. Everybody calls him Dr. Dale. We have like those little nameplates that you switch out so people can tell which doctor is on shift at any given time, like is on the floor. And his says Dr. Dale. I know for a fact because I checked it after he left. His name is Dr. Dale. But no. He insisted that his name was actually Dr. Darcy, and apparently he told us that 100 times, and we just refused to listen, which I don't believe. If it was just Nate and I in question, maybe I would believe it, because we're a bit like that sometimes. But it's not just me and Nate. Ash was there too, and I know for a fact that had Dr. Dale told Ash that his name was actually Dr. Darcy, Ash would have taken note of that, and he would have made sure that everyone called him the proper name. But that never happened. So if it's a choice between believing Dr. Dale and believing Ash, I'm going to believe Ash 100% of the time, which means that Dr. Dale is a liar and he's making stuff up for attention, and I don't appreciate that. And I tried to explain this to Dr. Dale, very politely, mind you, but he just told me to go fuck myself, flipped me off, and walked out, which, bye, I guess. Just don't ask me for a reference to the college because we're in the same college. He's trying to get into my college. I'm not going to give you one. You can explain to the college why you left your placement early, because I'm not giving you one. I'm not backing you up because the reasons that you gave me are stupid. So I guess that means that this week I am going to have to be working like 100 hours because I'm going to have to cover all of Dale's shifts at such a short notice. And then hopefully next week we have a GP service in town. The GP that works there, he doesn't live in town. He comes from like 2 hours away in the nearest like next town. And hopefully I can convince him to come and cover some shifts at the hospital, which he will. He usually does. He's good like that. So it's just this week. And if not, Nate will cover more because he basically lives here anyway. Half his stuff is here. So if the other doctor won't, Nate will. But yeah, it's going to have to be me this week, which honestly, I would prefer to working by myself for 100 hours than working 80 hours and having to mentor Dr. Dale. So if anything, it's a win situation for me. It is a plus. I would prefer to be fellowshipless, and now I am. Hurrah! Huzzah! Okay, I am taking you on chores with me again today, but a different kind of chore. I have got all my daughter's clothes. I've got to move all my daughter's clothes into a new storage box, which I finally got around to purchasing because the last one got broken when Dress ransacked my house several weeks ago, which is something that he does semi-regularly. Why? I don't know. Actually, that's a blatant lie. I do know why. He wants my daughter's baby teeth. That's between the two of us. I'm not going to get too much into that. There is a reason for that, but I don't know. I actually don't know. I don't know why he wants them specifically. Like, I have an idea of why he wants them, but what I don't know is why he keeps ransacking my house for them. Like, why would I move them into my house when I know that he doesn't know where I keep them? So after he's ransacked my house, which he does, again, at least annually, like taxes, why would I then go, oh, well, now that he's done it, I'm going to move them into my house? Like, I don't know that he's going to do it again. So that's usually all right. Like, he makes a mess. He doesn't usually take anything, but it's just a pain in the ass. It's completely illogical. Like, I don't know why he keeps doing it. And he does it not all the time, but like I said, at least annually he does it. He comes and he makes a huge mess in my house and he ransacks everything and he leaves everything a mess. And it's so illogical. Like, when I hear myself say, yes, why would I keep them in my house when you don't know where I already keep them? And so clearly they're more safer there because you keep ransacking my house. That sounds logical to me. Does it sound logical to you? Probably. It doesn't sound logical to him. But again, who knows what goes on in the head of a clinical psychopath? I certainly don't. But anyway, the point is, he broke the box that I was keeping my daughter's clothes in when he ransacked my house last time. Like, he cut it. He cut it with a knife. It is unusable. I should go get it so I can show you, but there's no point. So yeah, I need to move all my daughter's clothes to the new box because right now they're just in a bag and it keeps breaking. And so I need to move them before they start going yucky. And why I'm doing that, I will tell you about my daughter and how she died because I'm going through her stuff. So I might as well do that. This one is really ugly. So like I've admitted previously, I was not the best mother in the world. I was very young and I was in a very strange marriage and we all lived together and raised my daughter together. But prior to that, when my daughter was first born, I was still living with my mother in her clinic and my husband and my best friend, they were traveling and I was very resentful of that because I didn't want a baby in the first place. I wanted to go traveling with them, but I couldn't do that because I had a baby that I needed to take care of. So in hindsight, I think I had pretty bad postnatal depression. And when they came back, they were like going to this country and they said they could see that I was very unhappy. So they said, you should come with us. We're going for 3 weeks. You'll be back before you know it. And it was a really nice gesture, really. And so I went, except it didn't end up being a 3-week holiday because while we were there, a civil war broke out in the country we were visiting and we couldn't get home. This was one of those countries where it's like surrounded by mountains and the weather is nice for like 5 days of the entire year. So the train lines are shut down. Everything was shut down. We physically could not get out of this country. And my daughter was not yet 5 months old. She was a few days younger than 5 months old when we left for the 3-week trip. And by the time we got home, she was already past her first birthday. So that is quite shameful in and of itself that we missed basically the majority of her first year of life. But how she died, it was a very complicated yet quite simple situation. So my daughter, she was traveling on a train and the train needed to pass around a mountain bend. And the weather had been really bad for a couple of weeks at this point, just raining and hailing and snowing nonstop, which was uncommon for the season. And so the train is going around the mountain. And unbeknownst to anybody there or on the train or at the train station, anywhere along the train tracks, there had been a really big rock slide. So there was big rocks, I'm talking boulders, and they are stuck on the train tracks, but nobody knows this. Like, it has happened very shortly before the train gets there. And so the train hits the rocks at full speed and the train is derailed. And again, they're going around a mountain, so the tracks are elevated, and some of them, like, it wasn't super high a mountain, but it was still like up a cliff. And some of the carriages broke away, like the train got derailed. They all fell off the friggin' track, but some of them in particular got derailed really badly. And that my daughter was on one of those carriages, and that's how she died, unfortunately. So I'm currently watching this show. I do not love the show. It's not my favorite show ever, but it reminds me of the first time, or really the only time, that I've ever been to Yosemite National Park. And it was an adventure. So this was like, I'd been here for like 2 years at this point. And for the first 2.5 years that I was here, my only friend in the entire world was some boy named Tristan. And he is to this day, he's not dead, but he is to this day like the twinkiest twink to ever eat a Twinkie. And for some reason, we were with like 4 different handlers, and they had a meeting, I don't know why I'm moving my mic, sorry. They had a meeting in Seattle, like prior to this, which is why we were there. And so we were going to go like from Seattle through Portland to San Francisco and then to Vegas. But we took like a detour to Yosemite. So we'd been at this resort for like 2 or 3 days, and it was beautiful. We loved it so much. It was like we got to go in the spa, we got to ride horses, we got to go for walks. It was lovely. And then our handlers, they woke us up at like 4 a.m. one morning, and we thought that they were waking us up because we were going to, drive on to San Francisco. We were going to hit the road. To Las Vegas, not to San Francisco. We were going to hit the road. That's not what happened. So they take us out, they drive us out to like the heart of Yosemite National Park. And I'm like, oh, this is actually really nice. Like, I wanted to see this better anyway. And then they inform us that we are going to be climbing the Half Dome. Tristan and I are not dressed or prepared to be climbing the Half Dome at a moment's notice. I am in tracksuit pants, and I've got the worst bra on known to man. Tristan, who is afraid of dirt and bugs and sunlight, UV rays, is in Vans. I'm like, are you actively trying to kill us? What do you mean we're going to be climbing the Half Dome? But apparently, like, we had to meet someone there. So they made us climb the friggin' Half Dome, and it was scary. Like, I've climbed 3 mountains in the past, like, out of necessity. I think people who climb mountains for fun are really, really weird. Like, I've said it in a different video, and I will restate it here. In 2025, well, I guess it's technically 2026 because the 2025 season is already over. But if your life goal in 2026 is to climb Mount Everest, I think that is incredibly embarrassing. I think it is humiliating to be climbing Mount Everest in 2026. But yeah, so they made us climb the Half Dome. And it was, in hindsight, I'm glad that we did it. But at the time, like, even now, it makes no sense why we did it, especially dressed how we were with the preparation that we had. It was mental. But yeah, so that's what this show reminds me of, and it's the only reason I'm watching it, is that it gives me good memories of that adventure that Tristan and I went on, because we're still friends. I haven't seen him like 3 years, because he came out to visit me once in the Outback, and he was like, I'm never coming out here again. There are so many bugs, so much dirt. I'm never coming out here again. And he hasn't, so huzzah. Anyway, this is Casey signing off for the night. As always, stay weird out there, stay safe, and don't become a medical fellow because everyone will hate you. Just study from books as God and universities intended. Good night.